Well, lads, what's the crack? And welcome back to my Europa League and Europa Conference League prediction series. Today, we're predicting Europa League Match Week 5 and Europa Conference League Match Week 4. This week, we've got a 5 and 5 split, 5 Europa League matches and 5 Europa Conference League matches we're going to be talking about here today. And as well as that, then, don't worry about me missing out on any matches because I will be giving quick fire predictions for every other match which I do not talk about. So, as always, lads, remember to like the video, subscribe if you're new, click the bell, share this with as many people as possible, leave a comment as well. I really love all the engagement you give me, lads, and I really love all the support you give me too. And so then, lads, let's get into this Europa League and Europa Conference League predictions. And so starting off then in the Europa League and at Villa Park here is Aston Villa are welcoming the Swiss side Young Boys in this one. Aston Villa has recently been in brilliant form. Last time out at Elland Road, they came from 1-0 down and won the match 2-1 in the Premier League. Last time in the Europa League, it was a pretty comfortable 2-0 victory at home to Maccabi Tel Aviv as well. Meanwhile, for Young Boys, however, definitely has been a bit of a shaky start so far in Europe, and yes, they picked up a couple decent results as of recently, I do believe, domestically, but still, overall this season is not good whatsoever, especially in the Europa League. These two sides took on each other just last season in the Champions League in Switzerland. It was Aston Villa's first game back in the Champions League since the 1980s too, and of course Villa would win the match 3-0 away from home. At the minute, like, Villa's in brilliant form, playing fantastic football. They've got a brilliant squad too under Unai Emery. Meanwhile, Young Boys at the minute are in pretty poor form, pretty inconsistent form as well. And so for me, Young Boys don't stand much of a chance here really. And I'm going to say Aston Villa will actually show massive levels in comparison to their opposition here in this one. I'm going to go for a thumping 4-0 victory for Aston Villa come the final whistle. It's going to be a really, really easy encounter here. Villa get yet another 3 points on the board to continue their brilliant form. However, Young Boys continue their poor form in the Europa League will fall to yet another heavy defeat away from home here in Birmingham. Next then, I want to go to Portugal as FC Porto are welcoming OGC Nice here in this one. Porto, in my opinion, are a team who are underperforming. In my opinion, lads, on paper, this Porto team can be the best in the Europa League. Their team is just absolutely brilliant, of course. I mean, look at the forwards they've got. I think Samu is an absolute world-class striker. He can be anywhere. Borja Sainz is a brilliant player. Rodrigo Moura looks like a brilliant youngster too. That attack alone is very good. And overall, all around, they've got a complete squad there too. In my opinion, this Porto team needs to be doing a lot more in the Europa League than what they're doing. Nice at the minute, of course, aren't doing too great. Last time they would lose 5-1 against an on-form Marseille team in Ligue 1. So, yeah, definitely not in the best form as of recently Nice either. So, yeah, I do believe still Porto at home turf here. They're a better team than Nice for sure. I expect Porto fully to win this one here. I'm going to go for a very comfortable 3-1 victory as Porto get a massive statement of intent here, as I expect them to get a win here and kick on from that and show to the competition that they're one of the best teams and one of the favourites for sure to win the Europa League this season. And next then we go to the Quip to Rotterdam as Feyenoord are welcoming the Glasgow Celtic here in this one. Feyenoord has recently have hit a bit of a slump in form, a couple of heavy defeats there in a row sort of in their Eredivisie, so definitely big challenges at the minute for Robin van Persie's side. Their ultras are banned from this one too, so the atmosphere may be significantly reduced in this one. That definitely could work to Celtic's advantage too. And of course, Feyenoord are still missing quite a lot of players too through injury, but still do have a decent enough squad coming into this one here, of course. But Celtic at the minute still under Martin O'Neill still aren't doing too great, of course. I mean, last time they would defeat St Mirren 1-0 away from home thanks to the last minute winner, a screamer by Colin McGregor. But still, like, they're not playing great at the minute, of course. Got a couple players to watch out for in that team, of course. Looking forward to seeing Johnny Kenny back in action here in Europe, obviously, as the main man up front. However, still, Celtic, in my opinion, are just too unconvincing. And although Feyenoord haven't been in the best form as of recently, they've had a couple of poor defeats there against teams like Go Ahead Eagles as recently. I think back-to-back 4-2 defeats there in the Eredivisie. But still, I believe they're better at the minute than Celtic. And I do believe they're well capable of winning this one. And I do think they are going to win this one here, lads. I don't think it's going to be too comfortable for the home side. I think Celtic still can make this one pretty competitive. However, I'm going to go for a Feyenoord 2-1 victory from the final whistle here. And yeah, ultimately Celtic still, in my opinion, aren't good enough. Feyenoord, yes, aren't in the best form, but still got a pretty good squad in there. They can still win these types of games. And so I'm going to back them in home turf to just do that. You get 3 points in home turf against Martin O'Neill's Celtic side. Next, then we go to the City Ground back in England as Nottingham Forest are welcoming Malmö from Sweden here in this one. Nottingham Forest under Sean Dyche, things are finally clicking this season for the Reds. for Nottingham Forest, obviously. Last time in the Premier League, destroyed Liverpool at Anfield 3-0. I mean, wins like that in the Premier League just do not get much better, do they? So at the minute, like, Sean Dyche's finally cracked the code. He has got Nottingham Forest playing the perfect style of football, which is getting the best potential out of them, obviously. And it's going to be really interesting to see how they get on here, of course. Still are yet to hit the ground running for definite in Europe. I think last time in the Europa League was a 0-0 draw away to Sturm Graz. So this game definitely has to be the game which Nottingham Forest start a proper European charge in. And I do believe they're well capable in doing so as well. So you know what, lads, I'm going to say Forest will play some total football here in this one. Malmö will not know what's hit them here. I'm going to say Nottingham Forest get an extremely comfortable 3-1 win on home turf here. I think they will concede a goal at some stage. However, I do believe they're going to play some fantastic football here. Their depth and quality is going to shine through, and Forest will get a massive 3 points come the final whistle at the City Ground as things continue to go from good to even better week in week out under Sean Dyche. And finally then, finishing off the Europa League, we go to Ibrox as Rangers are welcoming Braga here in this one. These two teams seem to face off against each other in the Europa League every single season. And yet again, lads, this season, surprise, surprise, Rangers are playing Braga. And most of the time it does seem to be at Ibrox, and once again, it is at Ibrox, obviously. But of course, it definitely is a strange enough time to a Rangers fan. They're improving, of course, and of course, under Danny Role, things are finally starting to smoothen out a wee bit this season, but still aren't necessarily perfect either. Last time in the Europa League, they would lose 2-0 at home to Roma, the Italian giants there, and they currently remain rock bottom, I do believe, after 4 matches in the Europa League this season. However, I do believe things are about to turn for the better for Rangers under Danny Role. There's been some good news for Rangers after a couple of their board members have resigned, of course. So things look to be definitely turning good for Rangers, which I'm not necessarily a fan of seeing. However, definitely could make this one an interesting affair. Look, I do believe still they're well capable of winning these types of matches. Braga haven't been too bad so far this season in the Europa League, and so it'll be interesting to see how they do approach this one. However, I'm going to say Rangers on home turf here with an atmosphere. They're going to finally put in the shift in Europe this season, and I'm going to get a big 2-1 victory come the final whistle here. I'm back in Rangers get their first points on the board in the Europa League this season, and they're going to do it with a fantastic performance here at home to a very good Portuguese team in Braga here in this one. So yeah, Rangers 2, Braga 1 is what I've gone with here, as Danny Role will register Rangers' first points in the Europa League this season. The rest of my Europa League predictions then for match week 5 go as follows: Fenerbahce 3, Ferencváros 2, Lille 2, Dinamo Zagreb 0, Ludogorets Razgrad 1, Celta Vigo 2, PAOK 1, SK Braga 0, AS Roma 1, Midtjylland 1, Victoria Pilsen 1, Freiburg 1, Bologna 2, Salzburg 1, Red Star 2, FCSB 0, Genk 2, Basel 2, Go Ahead Eagles 1, VfB Stuttgart 3, Maccabi Tel Aviv 0, Lyon 3, Panathinaikos 1, Sturm Graz 0, and Real Betis 2, FC Utrecht 1. Now we go to the Europa Conference League, and starting off with an extremely interesting match here in the Netherlands. It is AZ Alkmaar welcoming the Irish side Shelbourne here in this one. And the thing which makes this one really interesting, of course, is this Irish side Shelbourne travelling to the Netherlands to take on a club who have none other than Mr. Troy Parrott himself in the squad. And after Troy Parrott's heroics over the international break against Portugal and Hungary for Ireland, it's going to be interesting to see how he does approach this one, of course, against the side from his home nation, obviously. I'm really intrigued to see how this one does go. Obviously, a massive, massive game in the history of Shelbourne Football Club too. Listen, is probably going to be a bit of a batter in here, because AZ are a very good team, and Shelbourne are only from the Irish League, of course. However, I do expect Shelbourne to give it all they've got here, and I do expect them to actually score a goal at some stage in this one. However, that's not to say they're going to concede a hell of a lot of goals here in this one too. I'm going to go for a massive 7-1 win here for AZ come the final whistle. Shelbourne will get the joy with a goal. However, AZ are going to put them to the blade ruthlessly here in this one. Troy Parrott will score 2 or 3 goals on the day here. Could be interesting what sort of reaction those goals, if he does score any, will take from him. However, it does depend what his boy club was. I mean, if it wasn't a Shelbourne club, I know he's from Dublin, I'm pretty sure he would be happy enough to score a couple of goals here in this one. But anyway, I do believe AZ will score goals here in this one and will easily defeat Shelbourne from the final whistle here. And now we go to Pittodrie next up in Scotland. The Highlands is Aberdeen are welcoming the Armenian side FC Noah here in this one. A very interesting match, but similarly to Rangers in the Europa League, this is a must-win match for the Scottish side, and Aberdeen obviously it hasn't been the best starts to the season, not only in Europe but also domestically too, and still they linger in around the bottom places in the Scottish League as I speak. However, still, in my opinion, they've got a quality side there. They've got enough quality to get a couple of wins here and there in the Europa Conference League, and this especially is a must-win match here in my opinion, because FC Noah, in my opinion, yes, they're okay. However, their team Aberdeen should be beaten in my opinion, and so here in this one, do I expect Aberdeen to win? Yes. Am I going to say Aberdeen's going to win? Yes. I'm going to go for Aberdeen to win this one. 2-0 come the final whistle. Pretty comfortable in the end here. It's going to be a fantastic display overall by the Scottish side. And yeah, I'm going to say Aberdeen fully deserving of 3 points and get a massive win here in Europe. Next, let me go to Florence in Italy for a very interesting match. As Fiorentina, the Italian giants, are welcoming AEK Athens here in this one. AEK Athens travelling to Italy here, of course, against the Fiorentina side, who have been a shadow of their former selves currently this season. Okay, so far in the Europa Conference League, they actually haven't been too bad. However, last time out, they would lose 2-1, I do believe it was, away to the German side Mainz, and at the minute still linger second from last in the Serie A, still winless after 12 matches too. And yes, their last match, I do believe, was a 1-1 draw against Juventus too. The results like that are not bad whatsoever. However, that Fiorentina side, 0 wins in 12 matches in Serie A. I'm sorry, it is absolutely pathetic with the players who got displayed there, of course. And so here in this one, currently still not in the best form. AEK Athens, in my opinion, are a good team, even though they had to rely on a last-minute Luka Jovic equaliser from the spot to draw at home to Shamrock Rovers. I do believe still they're a quality side. They've got players like Luka Jovic, João Mario, amongst others there, of course. And in my opinion, they're well capable of winning this one. And you know what, lads? Fiorentina currently not in good form. I'm going to back AEK Athens to actually do it here. I'm going to go for a massive smash and grab 1-0 away win for the Greeks in the final whistle. Fiorentina continue their performance. I say their domestic woes turn into European woes as things go from bad to worse for the Italian giants, but a massive 3 points and a fully deserved victory for AEK Athens away from home here. And now we head back to Ireland. This time it's Shamrock Rovers here in Tala, this time around in the Europa Conference League, and they're welcoming the Ukrainian giants Shakhtar Donetsk here in this one. This definitely is a massive challenge for Shamrock Rovers. However, their club here are 100% capable of going head to head with these giants. They proved that last time out with a 1-1 draw away at Athens, of course, you know. And yes, they didn't win the match. However, a draw away from home there against Athens is still a bloody brilliant result there for Shamrock Rovers. It is still a fantastic result. And here in this one, like, they're on home turf. Shakhtar Donetsk, of course, will be favourites here. And probably, you know, the majority of people will predict them to win. However, in my opinion, they've got a big win on them, lads. And in my opinion, this one, with a good home atmosphere, big crowd, hopefully, Atala as well behind them. In my opinion, lads, this one could be it here. So you know what? Screw it. I'm going to back Shamrock Rovers to upset all the odds here. I'm backing a massive 3-2 victory in the final whistle here in South Dublin this Thursday night. Just so you watch, lads, I am backing Shamrock Rovers to pull off an absolute world-class performance here in this one. They're going to get one of their biggest results in the club's history as they're going to defeat the Ukrainian giants, the European stalwarts, and Shakhtar Donetsk 3-2 in the final whistle here in Tala, and one of their most complete performances in Europe to date. Just so you watch, lads, I'm calling it now. The Hoops from Dublin, from Tala, will get a fantastic 3 points here and will defeat the Ukrainian giants. And finally then, we've got a massive match here in France as Strasbourg are welcoming Crystal Palace here in this one. I'm really interested in this one too, of course. Crystal Palace, many people will be regarding as the favourites in this one. However, what I'm telling you now is, do not doubt the Strasbourg team. Under Liam Rosanier, the former Hull City defender, in my opinion, the Strasbourg team is going under the radar. They are a quality side, and it's not only because they've got half the Chelsea squad loaned out of them in a minute, of course. Julio Enciso, former Brighton player, former rival of Palace. Interesting to see what sort of impact he puts in the game too, of course, alongside many other players in this team. And there's other players such as Paniacelli, I think it is, the striker. He's a quality striker too. And as well as him, I think it's Diogo Moreira as well, a winger as well too. He's a brilliant player as well. So in my opinion, like, the Strasbourg team are a very, very good side. Palace last time out with defeat as a 3-1 in the Europa Conference League. Last time in the Premier League defeated Wolves 2-0 away from home. So they are in good form at the minute, of course. However, The Europa Conference League is not easy for a team like Palace whatsoever, and that was proven when they lost 1-0 at home to AEK Athens a couple of weeks ago. So, in my opinion, lads, this game is far from being a guaranteed victory for Palace here. And is it even going to be a win here for Palace? You know what, lads? I don't think it is here. I think Strasbourg will prove to the world that they are a side not to doubt in the Conference League whatsoever this season. I'm going for Strasbourg to upset Palace here on home turf and get a 3-2 victory come the final whistle here. I think the Strasbourg team is incredibly underrated. I'm going to say they prove their quality here in this one. They're going to get a fully deserved victory here. They'll shock Palace in France here, as Strasbourg will announce their arrival on the big stage to all of Europe. The rest of my Europa Conference League predictions go as follows: Hammer and Spartans 0, Lincoln Redhams 1, Lech Poznan 1, FC Lausanne Sport 1, Omonia Nicosia 1, Dynamo Kiev 0, Rakow Zvezda 2, Rapid Vienna 2, Sigma Olomouc 1, NK Celje 2, Slovan Bratislava 2, Rayo Vallecano 2, Universitatea Craiova 0, FSV Mainz 3, Zrinji Mostar 2, BK Haken 0, Breidablik 0, Samsun Sport 3, KF Drita 0, KF Scandesia 0, Jagiellonia Bialystok 5, Koops 0, Legia Warsaw 2, Sparta Prague 4, and Rijeka 1, AEK Larnaca 3. Anyway, lads, I'm going to end today's Europa League and Europa Conference League predictions. Hope you have enjoyed it, of course. What do you think about my predictions? Are they good, are they bad? What will you change? Let me know in the comments below. As always, lads, remember to like the video, subscribe if you're new, click the bell, share this as many people as possible, leave a comment too, engage with this video as much as possible. And so then, lads, I'll see you all in the next one here on KDFG.